What is up, guys? It is Bucky, and welcome to your, 15th, I think, tutorial. I don't know, who's keeping track. And in this tutorial, we're going to be talking about the while loop. Now, in the last couple of tutorials, we learned about a sweet loop, and all it did was execute code over and over, and it was called the for loop. Well, in this tutorial, we're going to be learning about another loop, and again, all loops do is they take a piece of code and run it over and over and over again, so you don't manually have to do it over and over and over again. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead, and the first thing I'm going to do is demonstrate a simple while loop. So let's go ahead and put int number and set it equal to 1 or 0. You decide. I'll give you the freedom. And now what we need to do is go ahead, in the syntax, which means the code to build a while loop, is first you put while, and then inside your parentheses right after you write the condition. Now what the condition is it's basically a test, and your computer's going to say, alright, as long as this test is true, I'm going to keep running this code over and over again. But as soon as this test inside my parentheses is false, I'm going to stop not running your code anymore. So we need to make something that it's going to change. So let's go ahead and put while number is less than or equal to 6. So as long as our variable number is less than or equal to the number 6, it's going to keep running. So sometime, now that number is equal to 1, we're going to have to change its value. So go ahead and inside your curly braces, this is also part of the while loop. So first you have your test, and inside your curly braces you have your statements or instructions of what you want to run. So the first thing we want to do is, let's go ahead and just output our number, ns log, and put at, and just go ahead and put like %i, and now go ahead and write number, not number. There we go, that's a bit better. And now what this does is it says, alright, I'm going to test if your number is less than or equal to 6, and then I'm going to output your number. So what it would do right now is it would say 1, 1, 1, 1, and it would run that forever. But we want this loop to eventually break, which means stop running. So what we're going to do is go ahead and change the number value. So number plus plus, that means every time you run this code, add 1 to number. So let's go ahead and run this, and then I'll talk you guys through it. Save and run. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what exactly happened here? Well, we had a variable called number, and we set it equal to 1. And then we put it in a while loop. And this while loop tested, and it ran this code so long as the number was less than or equal to 6. So the first time it said, alright, I got this number and it's 1, so I can run this code. I'm going to print it out, add 1 to it. Alright, let's do it again. I got this number and it's 2, so I can go ahead and run my code. So 2, change it to 3. So I get this number is 3, and it went so on and so on. And it printed out 6 down the line, and eventually when it got to 7, it said, alright, I'm only supposed to run this code when it's less than or equal to 6. So now that number is 7, I can exit this program, and I'm not going to do this anymore. So those are the basics of a while loop and how it kind of works. Again, like I said, first it has a test, and if the test is true, it runs. But if the test is false and it fails the test, then this never gets ran. And again, if you never change the value of number, then your test would always be true. So you're going to have this loop that goes on and on and on forever, and it's going to strain your computer. So that's why you don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and build kind of an interactive program. And I need my dang hanky again, so hold on one second. Can't even find it. Look at this, on the bloody floor. Well, that's embarrassing and disgusting. So let's go ahead and get to the rest of our tutorial. And let's go ahead and I deleted everything, so we have a number and it's set equal to 1. Well, now let's go ahead and make another variable. Let's tighten this up a tidbit. That's what she said. Int Bucky, and this is going to hold a number. And this is just a little more, a better explanation of when to use the while loop. So let's go ahead and put scanf. So the user is going to type in a number, and it's going to be an integer. So go ahead and put %i, and it's going to be stored in that variable Bucky. So what we did is our program is just going to have a blank cursor, and we're going to enter a number, and then that number is going to be stored in the variable Bucky. So now what we need to do, well, we don't need to, but we just want to, is let's go ahead and test number less than or equal to 10. So as long as this number, the variable that we made, is less than or equal to 10, so pretty much whatever I'm about to do, I want to do it 10 times. You're going to run this bit of code. Well, let's go ahead and put ns log, and then go ahead and put something like at and %i times %i, make sure you spell times wrong, equals %i. So what we're going to do is take that number that we have, and it's going to go from 1 to 10, and we're going to take Bucky, the number that they entered, this is going to be constant, and we're going to times them together and give them the number times Bucky. And that's good. And now, of course, we need to take that number and add 1 to it every time, so this loop eventually stops going. So let me go ahead and run this, and this is a neat little program, as long as I don't got any errors. So it says running. Now let's enter a number 12. Press enter, and it says 12 times 12 is 12, yada yada yada. 6 times 12 is 72, 9 times 12 is 108, 10 times 12 is 120, and that's it. So how exactly did this program work? Let me explain to you guys one more time. And this would be an example of when you would use the while loop. It's a little more useful than just outputting, like my little example. So say for example you wanted to do your times tables 1 to 10. You would make a number, and this is a variable, and this would go from 1 to 10 eventually. We set it at 1 to begin with. Next, we have the user enter what number they want to times by and store it in a variable called Bucky, or whatever you want. Bucky's a pretty good one. I think you should use that. Next, we make a while loop that basically goes 10 times. Now, we could have easily made this in a for loop. It doesn't really matter. Later down the road, you'll come across situations where a for loop's better and a while loop's better, but for now, I'm telling you guys both of them. So since we have this number going 1 to 10 anyways for the while loop, we said, alright, we're going to take the number that they entered, which is Bucky, and take the number that goes from 1 to 10, which is going through the while loop, and we're going to times them both together, and for your answer, it's just number times Bucky. So that, again, like I said, is a little more useful, and that's probably all the time I have for this tutorial. So thank you. I hope you learn a little bit about while loops, and build a simple program, and you'll figure it out. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next tutorial.